Hello, everyone. My name is Timothy Lee Grant. So, today I am going to be continuing on my journey to try to improve my software engineering skills and learn Node.js. The previous video that I made, I was kind of going through just the basics of okay, well, how do I actually set up a Node.js project? How do I get that to be able to be rendered onto my browser when I go to localhost, and then I connect the IP address, which is the localhost part, and then the port number. Okay, well, I was able to get that to pop up, and I was able to display the HTML, and I was able to kind of use EJS to dynamically put data into the HTML files, and I was able to get that. Now, one of the things that I'm kind of thinking about and trying to figure out how I want to move forward is okay, well, if I just say I'm going to develop a project, it's like I don't really know the skills that I need to learn before I know about the skills that I need to learn. So it's kind of like a situation where you're trying to figure out like okay, well, I don't know what I need to know to be able to move forward. So I'm kind of at the point in that where I'm just like, okay, well, how do I move forward? How do I actually improve my skills because I'm not sure. So, what I'm thinking about doing right now is I just went online here and just typed in Node.js projects, okay, and I found this website here and they have a whole bunch of different stuff. I'm thinking okay, maybe what I can do is just go pick a project that someone else has done, and then I can go into that project, try to figure out how it's working, try to figure out what's going on in the project, what are some of the skills, not skills, but like the concepts that are present in that project that I am currently unfamiliar with, and then move forward in understanding those. And I actually do think that this does kind of very well match what is expected as a software engineer, right? Like you're given a task or a project that's already very there's a lot of infrastructure that's already there, and now you're jumping in media res, right? In the middle of everything. So let's kind of pick something and then see if we're able to, figure out okay, what's going on and how do I understand this and learn those concepts. So, let's see, blog API, toll road management system. No, no toll roads. Um, Chat app using sockets. Hmm, that seems a little bit interesting. Should we do this one? Either that one or the social media. In this article, we will build a RESTful social media API where we will create a backend structure for general social media application where an Uber can register. If a user is authentic, then the user can create a post. Okay. I mean, that sounds good. Okay, does it just have like a whole bunch of source code though? Where's the source code? Installing the necessary modules. Um, okay, well, it looks like it's just a like step-by-step tutorial, which is fine. I was expecting kind of just like a big GitHub repo or something. Um, they might still have that though. Let's should we go through like this tutorial or should we just kind of see if there's a GitHub for it? Okay, whatever. Um, so I guess we just start from the beginning. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna be reading through this and doing this project. So Build a social media REST API using Node.js, a complete guide. Okay, so developers build an API, application programming interface, okay, that allows other systems to interact with the application's functionality and data. So, I mean, I think that this word is used in a bunch of different contexts because it's also, I know it's used a lot in the context of like web programming and REST API, stuff like that, but it's also in the context of, yeah, embedded systems and what you can call an API seems almost like a library as well. Like you use a, I guess that's not true because it's a library would be like just a function, right? But whatever. Because this has more of a connotation of there's a outside server or something that you send data in and get something back, right? I mean, that's technically like a function as well, right? In a library, you have a have a method out here, and you, I guess, I don't know. Anyways, okay, that allows other systems to interact with the application's functionalities and data. In simple words, APIs are a set of protocols, rules, and tools that allow different software applications to access allowed functionalities, the data, and interact with each other. API is a service created for the user applications that request data or some functionality from servers. Okay, yeah. Cool. So, what are we going to be doing? In this article, we will build a RESTful social media API where we will create back-end structure of a general social media application where a user can register, and if a user is authentic, then the user can create a post. Okay, so we're going to be able to implement this RESTful API. That's one thing that we're going to be learning. We're going to be implementing the backend so the user is able to register. Okay, so that will be interesting to see how they do that. How do they store all of that? I think I saw something about like MongoDB up here or down here. MongoDB, so there's going to be interactions with a database. Awesome. That's also pretty cool. And what else is going on? They're going to be able to create a post, so that's the CRUD operations. Okay, so also they can delete their specific posts, but before directly jumping into that, we will learn why to create an API and choose the technical stack for your, or the technology stack for your API. Okay, so why create an API? Good question. Let's learn. If some applications need a little chunk of data from our system, we cannot give them complete access to our servers for various security concerns. Instead, we create well-structured and secure APIs for that particular data or functionality so that if someone needs that we can give them endpoints with proper API keys and only authentic users can access the data, which can be checked by proper authentications like OAuth 2.0 and JSON Web Tokens. Okay, so I guess the idea with the APIs is it's just some portal that we're able to mitigate, or we're able to control what data we give to the requester. And so we're not just giving them everything, and that they can just go around and play and see all of the source code and see all of the data and information there, and they can do whatever they want. It is very much restricted that we say, okay, you're only able to call these specific methods, and if you call this method, you are only able to perform these set actions if you provide the correct information. So maybe like one parameter would be the whatever JSON web tokens, something like that. Okay. We can also monitor and analyze the API usage by different users so we can handle the safety if some issue will occur and improve our API over time for better utilization. So yeah, they have obviously the ability to monitor the requests which are coming in, meaning they're able to, I guess, for one thing, detect bad actors. Number two, they're able to just get that data and improve their services based off of like load or something. So if they're getting a whole bunch of requests that are coming in at a certain time of the day, they might be able to change the organization of their servers or something like that. Okay. For example, many large companies like Swiggy, Zomato, and OLA, okay, use Map API, which integrates the map onto the applications to give their live location of their riders to provide a better experience to the customer. Okay. Before start building the API, let's discuss the technology stack on top of which the whole API is created. Okay, so choosing the technology stack. Before we do that, I'm going to have more coffee. All right, let's choose our technology stack. It's very important to choose the right technology stack when it comes to building an API. What is it? First question, what does it mean by technology stack? Like, what is a technology stack? That's a good question that we're going to be answering. I noticed my battery is a little bit low. Let me charge that. All right. Okay. So, the technology stack includes programming language. Oh, well, if I would have just read if I would have just read the next sentence, I would have answered the question for myself. The technology stack includes programming language, framework, library, and database which will be used to develop API. Okay, so programming language, okay. Framework. What is framework? Like, the only context for framework that I have is like, what was it? ASF? Uh, what did that stand for? Atmel Studio Framework, I think it is. It's essentially just libraries you're able to uh, call like do I2C, and you're just able to like send I2C commands, and it is a library that is specific to your like Arduino essentially. Um, it's the Atmel family. So your Arduino microcontrollers, unique hardware. So it kind of takes care of that. It puts it at the right hardware location and puts that data in there. Okay. So, like, hey, I have this 16 bit information that I want to send on port C of my Arduino uh, chip, and please send this data. And then it will kind of deal with all of that. You just do like whatever the I2C call in the ASF, the framework, and it puts it at the memory location in the chip's hardware, and then the actual hardware deals with all the timing and the clock and data uh, toggling to be able to produce the start bit. Okay, there we go. Usually we have to start first. The start bit, then transmit the data, then produce the stop bit, and it deals with all that, so I don't need to touch it, right? I, I had to do a, form of communication that didn't have a library, and I needed to take care of all of the timing, and oh my goodness, that I got it. It worked. It worked. I'm able to get it. But I'm very happy to have a when the hardware is able to take care of it, and I can just put the data in a memory location and be off. All right, so library. Okay, cool. And database, which will be used to develop the API. Okay. Although there are several factors based on which you should choose the technology stack for building an API, some of them are scalability, performance, security, and developer productivity. Okay, so one of the things that I came across, and this is something that is very much like when I started working, okay, in university, you have your one class, you do your project, you get a good grade on it, and it's done. Finished, right? You don't think about scalability, you don't think about maintainability, you don't think about any of this. You just do your project, you hit those goals, and you're off. You're good. Then, when I transitioned into work, it was my manager would be like, hey, we want you to develop something that accomplishes some goal, right? That assists production in some way, right? That was the goal. Okay, cool. So it's up to me to figure out what the specific bullet points are that I need to accomplish, right? Like it just give a very general thing of like, oh, develop a project. How, right? Like it's just very wide open. Okay, cool. So do that. But I didn't pay much attention to the scalability or the maintainability portion of it. And so the initial ask was like, "Oh, dude, I thought it was going to be like a 3 day thing because that's literally what was said. Like, do a 3 day, see what you can get done in 3 days." So I thought, oh, okay, it's going to be a little project. But then more asks and more asks, and oh, actually, we want this. Oh, actually, can it do this? Oh, can right, bum, 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 and then it would be, oh, actually, we don't need this. And so it was kind of like an accordion where things would go in and out, and it would just grow and shrink, and each time it would grow or shrink, there was a whole bunch of like complexity that was added into the project because, okay, well, I'm taking this portion out, but I can't just like delete that because other things depend on it. So now I need to change multiple things in the project, and it just became a nightmare. Now, I was asked maybe 2 months ago, um, production asked me like, "Hey, we want. Can you continue developing your project?" Because I gave it over to them. I finished it. It's working, and I hadn't heard about it for like 6 months, 6 or 7 months. They've been using it, and then I've been working on a whole bunch of other projects, developing our new product line. So our company is producing a new line of products. So I'm writing the firmware for that, and then also doing a whole bunch of other stuff. So I hadn't been thinking about production. That wasn't even in my mind. But they came back to me a little while ago and asked, "Hey, can you?" And they had some ideas on what they wanted to implement, and their ideas are good, right? Like I agree with them. That would be nice to implement. But I was looking at it, I'm like, goodness. To like, it seems like simple requests, right? But actually, to implement those, it would take so long to do because I didn't write it sustainably. And so that taught me a huge lesson. That was like one of my first projects as well when I started at the company. My first engineering job, it was just like, okay, here's one. But I was also doing other projects as well, as I mentioned. So I was doing like 3 projects at the same time. So it was kind of just like a very vague as well, because it's not like a homework assignment where you just have those points like bam, 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 bam. Now at work, it's just like, oh, accomplish this goal. How you do it, that's up to you. What the specifics are, okay, well, that's up to you and the stakeholders. And it's up to me, right, to figure out, like, who are the stakeholders? Who do I need to contact? Who do I need to satisfy? Who do I need to make happy? So, um, after that, I learned scalability, very important. And I'm actually going to talk a little bit more about scalability because one of the problems that I'm having is, okay, well, I know that it's important, but how? How do I develop a scalable software project? And all of my projects that I do at work, I'm the only firmware or software slash firmware person. Okay, so my role at the company is very uh, flexible, I guess you could say. Like, I do the firmware, but I'm also software, right? So any task that falls into that category, that comes to me. So I develop my projects in a team of one, which is myself. So, okay, well, how do if there were two people, how does that's going to dramatically change the dynamic, right? So how do I, number one, I don't even know how, okay, I know scalability is extremely important, but how do you actually write a well-structured project? I don't know. And how do I learn that skill? I also don't know. So that's something that I've been trying to keep my eye out for a while now, but I'm not sure. I don't know how to create a scalable project. I want to learn. I want to be able to improve this point. I know it's a very important point, but I don't know. And number two is, okay, well, how do you actually create a project where multiple people are working on it and it's kind of a collaborative effort? Because I've never had that either. When I was at school, it's always like you do it by yourself. And now at work, it's do it by yourself. So I never had that as well. So, two things that I'm trying to learn about. I'm keeping my eye open. Say, hey, scalability, I know it's extremely important. I don't know how to do it right now, but it's something that I need to pay special attention to. And it's something that in projects, when I'm looking at other people's code, other people's projects, larger scale projects, GitHub repositories, etc., that's something that I'm trying to focus on and keep my eye out on is how are they doing scalability? How are they able to add new features effectively with in just a very easy easy way? Oh, okay. Well, you would like this new feature to be added to the project. Great. I'll write it in 20 minutes. I just need to create some whatever object, or just need to do something simple, and it kind of easily integrates into the project. So I can't believe I've been at that company for almost a year now. I'm almost a year as an engineer. And if you count my internship time, I'm a little bit over a year at the company. So it's crazy. Time has gone fast. Let's see. Oh, it's March 20. So I got hired. So I did my I started my internship on December 15th, and then I got hired as a full-time engineer on April 2nd. Okay. And today is the next year, March 29th. So I've almost had one full year, I think, in like whatever, like 6 days. I'll have my 1 year anniversary as an engineer. Okay, let's keep going. So, although there are several, uh, where was scalability? Wait, hold on. Where'd it go? Scalability. Okay. So always look for technology that provides scalability options such as distributed systems. Okay. What is a distributed system? I just based off of the name, I'm guessing it means that you have a whole bunch of systems, okay, and that they are distributed either geographically or in hardware or um, partitioned in some way. What is a system? A system might be whatever those what are they called? Microservices, right? Okay. Load balancing, that's what I was kind of talking about where you're I don't really know how it works, but I know that based off of the usage, you can do different tricks to increase efficiency. Caching mechanisms. Okay, well here we are in the world of firmware. So okay, caching. I got that one. Here we go. Yeah. So caching is kind of trying to make sure that you save the data that you use a lot, so that you don't need to keep fetching that data. So you can have like your L1 cache, your L2 cache, your L3 cache, your disk, um, and so you can store your data in different locations, and the different level or like locations where you store that data, it's going to have different latencies based off of, okay, well, I want to fetch data from the L2 cache. It's going to be slightly uh, more time expensive than doing it from L1, but it's going to be significantly quicker than getting it from disk, because disk is like a physical like thing that needs to spin around. So caching is just like, hey, take your important information and put it in a location that you can access extremely quickly. One of the ways that was explained is cache is kind of like, oh, the objects on your desk are very easily reachable, right? And then maybe that's L1, and then L2 is like on your bookshelf. Okay, well, you need to go and get the book, but okay, L1 takes 5 seconds, L2 takes maybe 30 seconds, a minute. Okay, disk is like the library, which means you have to go get your keys, get in the car, drive all the way to the library, find the book, get the book. It's there, it exists, you can do it, but it takes a lot of time. Anyways, caching mechanisms. Also, choose such programming languages and frameworks that align with your project requirements and expertise of your developer team. Okay, cool. So in this article, we will see how to build a RESTful social media web API whose tech stack would be. All right, so here's the tech stack. Here's our lineup. Node.js, MongoDB, REST, and Postman. Okay, so Node.js is to create the routines and servers. So as we did in the last video, we can use Node.js to handle those requests which are sent to us. So in the last video, I was doing like localhost and then a backslash. And that was like we were able to take in that as a command and then do some data processing and render out, hey, you requested this, here's your data. Okay. MongoDB. A database on which we perform CRUD, create, read, update, delete operations. Okay, so we're going to have some data, kind of like probably the user's login credentials, and also their posts. And then from that, we're able to do those CRUD operations to remove posts or create a post or update a post, etc. Okay. REST, uh, representational state transfer. Oh, okay, so that's what it means. I've heard of REST API a lot, I just didn't know what it was. Representational state transfer, which is scalable and works on HTTP protocol. Okay, so what is it? HTTP protocol is just a like networking protocol, right? And so what does that sentence mean? It means that it uses the HTTP like port and methodology of transferring data. Okay, fine. Sure. Last one. Postman. Ah, our good friend Postman. I know Postman. The reason is because I saw people using it to send those. Uh, what was it? They were sending out like HTTP GET uh, or what was it, post or something. Uh, anyways, they were creating packages to request an API. I think that's what it's for. Additionally, we will use Postman for API testing. Now let's make it more clear in understanding. Okay. How to build a social media REST. We need to take a glass of coffee. Rest for whatever 10 seconds. Okay. So, how to build a social media REST API using Node.js. We will build a REST API called social media. I like it. We will create users, add authentication functionalities, and if the user is authentic, allow them to create posts. All the data will be stored in the MongoDB database. We will further call the API for deleting specific posts by ID. Okay, so yeah, each post is going to have an ID, and an ID is going to be what? It's a primary key. Uh huh. Uh huh. I remember these. Okay. Um, I watched some videos on databases, so I remember it now. I did some self studying on how to on what a database is, how it works, and primary keys and foreign keys. Those are the two things that you can connect your database, or the tables in your database. So an ID is a primary key. And so you have a posting or a listing, and that has an ID, and you're able to search your database on that primary key and get it, and then delete it. Okay, so where was I? Here, I think. Specific post by ID and get the user details, and all the requests will be sent to Postman. Okay. Since this article is about building an API, we are not creating any front end here, but for testing and request data, we will use Postman. Okay, so we're not actually going to be creating a front end what would you call that? Like interface. So from here, do like localhost, whatever, and then yeah, localhost. See, and then the port. This one's on 3000. But then you could come here and render this front end and produce those requests yourself through the front end, right? Front end sends the like does the how would that work? I'm thinking through it myself right now. Like so the front end, you press a button, right? Bing, and that button generates a request, right? To the server. And that would be just like a GET request, right? So you'd have your whatever you fill in your information, okay, like $3,000 in whatever Portland, Oregon, and you fill in all of the information on the page, right? And then you press go. You press post, and then it grabs that information off those fields that you posted there. Not packetizes, not packetizing in the networking sense, but like takes those fields and puts it into a request, a single request to the server API, and then the server will deal with it. Okay, and then give whatever a success if it was successful. Okay, all right. Okay, so but we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be doing everything through Postman here. But maybe in the future we can add the front end to it. Okay. So initialize a Node.js project. First create a new directory named social media. And inside that directory, initialize npm by running this command on the terminal. Okay. So I have here, and then I'm just going to create a social media. Okay. And open it from here. Okay, then we come to terminal, and it doesn't want me to do a terminal. Okay, why? That's weird. Test.py. Hold on a second. Print testing. Hold on. Why am I not able to get a terminal? Okay, here's my terminal. So I don't know. I don't know what they're up about. I don't know why I wasn't able to get that. It's terminal. Now it's there. Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna delete this. Delete. I don't need you anymore. Move to trash. I just want to. Okay. There we go. Okay. So npm init and yes. So this just will set up a whole bunch of the npm or the node packages. So npm. Oh, maybe that's why. I just noticed that my computer is very slow right now. It is extremely slow right now. I'm not noticing any lag on the video, but npm init. Okay. Do that and see. Okay. So there we go. We have this JSON.package. Okay. Good. Oh my goodness. Okay, for some reason my computer is extremely slow right now. Um, I guess right now, yeah. Come on. Well, I think I'm gonna take a little bit of a break anyways. So we got the main thing of understanding, okay, what is this project going to be doing? Now, next video we'll actually get into the code. Did it update anything? Okay, so in the next video, oh my goodness. Okay. So I will uh let my computer rest a little bit, close out of project. I don't know, I don't think I'm running anything, but I will get this. See, let my computer have a little bit of a break, and I will take a break too. Going into the next video, I will start working on the actual uh, code of things. So if that is interesting, subscribe to this channel. Um, if not, that's okay too. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and I will see you guys